So let's start with the first point here. Session-powered authentication doesn't work. If we have a look at traditional authentication, where we have our client, our browser for example, and we want to authenticate with a server, we send our login data to the server in this example, and the server will probably connect to a database and verify our information. Provided that our information is valid, the server will then create a session and therefore store the state of our validation. And from this point on, our client is able to authenticate with the server through this session and cookies set on the client. This is a stateful authentication as the server is aware of our client and we have that kind of connection. Now, RESTful services, however, are stateless, which means we can't store a session. The RESTful service doesn't and shouldn't care which clients access it. So the server certainly doesn't store anything identifying our client. It shouldn't, as I said, and it won't. So we can't use this authentication approach when using RESTful services. Which alternatives do we have? Well, one alternative would of course be to authenticate with each request. That means we send our authentication data to the server looks it up in a database and sends us back the required resource. And we then do this upon each request we send to the server, at least upon each request which accesses secured content. Well, everyone loves logging in with each request, isn't that right? Well, it certainly isn't. That would be an awful service and we probably wouldn't have that many users, because imagine you have to log in each time you want to post something on Facebook. Well, you would probably post even less than you're currently doing. So this doesn't work, but a solution would be some kind of single sign-on. So we send our data, user and password for example, to the server. The server checks this with the database. And then the server sends us something back, a document or some JSON data containing a token. And we can then send this token to the server with each subsequent request. Now, of course, this token has to be signed by the server and it would contain the information about our client, but it isn't stored on the server, but the server is able to validate the token sent by the client or all the clients accessing the server. With that approach, we can make sure that only valid clients or authenticated clients are able to access our secured resources, whilst at the same time ensuring that our server isn't responsible for keeping that state.